Hey, this is Trout Bitten Tips. Thanks for joining me. Let's talk about what absolutely hurts anglers the most. And there's no doubt about this one. It's what people do with their arms, this kind of arms out approach. Really, everything we do in fly fishing, you want to have this kind of natural body position. I'm going to call it kind of almost athletic stance where the elbows are in, and your body posture is kind of upright, and you're in good shape right here. Think about this. When we are casting, you don't want to be casting out here. This is not good casting for. Elbow in, casting. When I'm presenting the fly, if I'm drifting, I'm not doing this. I'm just not going to do this. I'm going to be in here, right? If I'm stripping and maybe doing a jerk strip when I'm doing streamers, things like this. If I'm stripping the fly, I'm in here. I'm not going to strip out here. I'm not doing this. When I'm hook setting, I don't want to be out here when I'm drifting or whatever, because when I set the hook, I don't want to be like this. That's another reason I'm going to be in here, set the hook, I'm in good shape. And then when I'm fighting a fish, especially a bigger fish, I don't want to fight the fish like this. I don't want to be back here. You got nowhere to go. If you set the hook and you're here and then you're in nice and tight, you got more room to maneuver. With all of that stuff, with the casting, with the drifting, you have more options. You have more range, let's say, more control, more accuracy. All the good things happen just by being in here. Not only then is it more comfortable, it's really more effective. Think about this. I said athletic position. Almost every other sport I can think of, you're in this natural kind of athletic stance with the elbows in and your body is centered, right? Like if you're going to hit a baseball, nobody's teaching you to swing like this. The elbows are in, you're coming through, and then extend, right? It's this athletic position. Nobody's throwing a football from out here, the elbows down. And the same thing with swinging a golf club, swinging a hockey stick, even a goalie for hockey. If you're a goalie, you're not starting here. Right? You're going to start with the elbows in, and then you have this range to grab the puck. All the good things happen by being in this stance. We really want to talk about all those good things, break it down: casting, drifting, presenting the fly, hook set, and fighting the fish. Are you ready? Here we go. So it's early morning, midsummer. My buddy Josh Darling is behind the camera there. We're gonna go through some of this stuff, and then if we have time, we're gonna do a little fishing. So with this body posture thing and the arms in instead of out, I know that many of you, maybe a lot of you, are gonna think I'm wrong about this, because there are good anglers with great reputations that work for big companies that'll show you to do it a different way. You're gonna see a lot of footage. I know you have seen a lot of footage out there. You've seen, maybe you've been to a fly casting demo, and they're showing you to do it a different way. Why do people do it, this arms out thing, when they're casting, when they're drifting? Why is it so common? I think just because you can do it this way, let's say the wrong way, and catch fish. You catch fish, you think you're doing it right, everything's good. But I would say that the body almost naturally doesn't want to do this. I've guided enough, I've seen enough beginners kind of struggle because they're out here. I think naturally, we all kind of want to reach to that target. And we're casting, we're trying hard. So this happens way more naturally in this when you're fighting fish than to bring the arms in. But if you kind of look at things as we go through this with a, clear, open mind, I think it's hard to argue against these things we're going to talk about. Let's start with the casting. So I think the trouble with fly casting is it's often taught for distance. But this is trout fishing in a river, and you do not need to cast more than 30 feet away. I mean, even on big rivers, you're going to tell me, hey, this is a small river, that's why you're not casting far. No, I think good trout anglers in rivers are really only casting 30 feet away. All right, 40 feet, 50. That's the longest cast that I've thrown in 2 months, probably longer than that. There's no sense in casting the whole line or casting really more than 40 feet, really more than 30. Because everything's going to fall apart out there. You can get the fly out there, but then what's it going to do? Do you really have control of what's going on? Then you got so much line out there. The point is that much of fly casting is taught for distance. And you'll see people trying to, hey, just send it. Watch me, I could throw the whole fly line out there. That doesn't mean anything. What really means something is the accuracy of being able to put the line exactly where you want it and the fly. I said it that way. People think about put the fly where you want it, but I mean it. The cool thing about fly fishing I've been through this a lot, is that you get to put the fly somewhere and then the line somewhere. And that's why we're staying at a closer distance. Currents, things are just gonna rip your line around if you go much further out. Anyway, so much of fly casting is they're showing you this. The only time I really need to take that elbow out and do this is saltwater. Or if I'm fishing a lake maybe, just distance is my point. So when you see people teaching fly casting, and they're so often showing you distance, I want to point this out. They're just taking that casting V and making it longer. A good distance cast still has this V, but it's not opening up this way. It's not getting wider, it's just getting longer. So, I've shown this so many times. I don't care if we're casting dry flies, we're casting nymphs on a tight line, we're casting streamers. It's here and it's here. This is your cast. There's that V. And this is all I'm gonna need to do. If I take the elbow out and start doing this, everything opens up too much. It's okay for distance, but still, watch. I'm stopping here and I'm stopping here. I'm stopping here. You still got some bend in the elbow. My point is keep everything in nice and tight, nice, tight V for the cast. If I start doing this stuff, the loops are gonna open up, the loops are gonna collapse. You have no power, you have no full turn, well, you're not gonna get full turnover. That's the real problem. You're gonna lose turnover and you're really gonna lose accuracy by being out like this. Not to mention too, this is just uncomfortable. I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, I can't do that fly casting thing. I can't fly fish because it hurts my shoulder. If the shoulder hurts, you're doing it wrong. I mean it. Everything's just in here, nice and tight, easy stroke. It just becomes very natural. If you feel like you're working, you're kind of doing it wrong. That's why it matters so much to just keep the elbow in when you're casting. This is your baseline. Now, after the cast, what are we gonna do? Cast, and then I can reach. I can cast, and then I can mend. If I'm casting to you, I might go like this and do a reach mend. So when we're casting, at the end, I got that stopping point, and then I get to do something else. That something else is what's gonna put the line in the position I was talking about. Fly, and then where do I wanna put the line? I'm gonna cast to you, and maybe I reach. Or I might cast, and I'll reach up. And even when I reach, I'm almost never fully extended. Anyway, as soon as I can, I'm back to this natural stance, this arms in, ready for anything, got good range, ready for anything approach. Hey, this video is sponsored by our good friends over at Fulling Mill. They make some great stuff. This is probably the thing I use the most of almost all my gear out here, besides my rod. I've had a box like this for a long time. This is the best design I've ever had. Very sturdy box. You see, the air can pass through. You need a place to put your flies. And you got good places here. I'll take a lot of times and put streamers on the outside. You can see I've used this foam quite a bit. Magnet here for holding, kind of staging small flies, right? Really solid piece. Great foam in there. I can put big hooks or small hooks, meaning the big hooks don't seem to stress out that foam too much or at all. Really sturdy pin in the back. Again, I've had different designs of these kinds of boxes, and the unit would fall off because the pin would fail. Love this box. I could fish all day out of just this without even getting into my main boxes. Got to have a place to keep your flies. Check them out at fullingmill.com or most fly shops. So that's casting, and I mean it, every style, whether it's dry flies, streamers, nymphs in so many different ways, or wet flies, swinging. Every style, your cast is starting here, finishing there, elbows stay in. You just don't want this arms out approach, right? Now, for presenting the fly, we do that in so many different ways. Let's start with a dead drift on a dry fly. It doesn't matter what angle I'd be presenting at, it's always the same. What is my body position gonna be? Where are my arms gonna be when I'm dead drifting that dry fly? Let's say I cast and maybe I reach a little bit for the mend. I'm in here because then I have full control of things. One thing you're gonna do a lot when you have fly line on the water is mend. Good mending happens by having it out here, having the fly rod out here, and then kind of pushing into it. Little hop mend like this. Notice how my arm has that range then to mend, to push out, and I'm pushing a little bit of line out that way. If I'm right across from you, I'm gonna mend this way. Notice that elbow comes out. So if I'm out here to start, and I'm drifting like this, I'm saying don't do this. When I mend, I have very little range to do that. I could be across from you and I could do this, but I have so much more range, capabilities to do other things, to put the line in different places when I'm mending. If I'm in here, then I got so much more range. That's the best reason for being in here like this. You're ready for anything, you're prepared, right? So let's go to nymphing. We talk about tight line nymphing a lot. I love it. I'm out like this. You're gonna see this a lot. You're gonna see, well, I'm tight line, I'm Euro nymphing, and this is what I'm doing. You're gonna see this a lot. It's wrong. People won't like the word wrong. It's not the best form. It's not. You're out like this. First of all, it's gonna hurt your shoulder. The best reason to reach, and this is a valid reason, the best reason is because I can hold line off the water. When we're tight lining, that becomes very important. Even when I was dry fly fishing, I could often reach to hold a little bit of line off the water. As soon as I can, say I decide I'm gonna reach, stop, I'm tight line nymphing, I'm gonna stop, reach a little bit. As soon as I can, I'm gonna bring that elbow in. If I'm fishing across from you, I could reach like this, or I could go one step forward. Let me find a better spot to show you this. So say I'm tight lining. Obviously I don't have the rod extended, but I want you to be able to see that rod tip right there. I could be out like this, or I could take a half step forward, elbow in, we're in the same spot. Or I could be back like this. So the reason for holding line off the water is a good one. Or you could be more comfortable, have more options and be in like this. Sometimes we're gonna reach. As soon as you can, return to this position. Because once again, and we'll get to this in a minute, but if a fish eats when I'm here, and it's a good fish, I am not gonna get as good of a hook set if I do that, as if I'm in here and I'm ready with a better hook set, prepared for a good fight, right? When I'm streamer fishing then, same thing. I got so many more options. I like to move the fly with the rod tip a lot. Let's say I'm streamer fishing over against that bank that you're standing on. And I'm presenting, everything's in here. I'm gonna jerk strip. And I can strip. It's so much better than being out here. But you've seen it a lot. Maybe you do it. You're out like this. This is not a good workstation. You know what I mean? You're so much better. You have so much more range again by being here. This is your workstation. This is your body position from right here. Same thing with swinging wets. Let's just say I'm casting to you, casting across, and I'm here. Instead of, why am I gonna hang my rod out like that? Because too, when fishing wets, when swinging wets, I'm often gonna mend. So we're back to that range of mending. Options, versatility, comfort, being right here. Easy, good, natural feeling. Casting, drifting, swinging, stripping, all of that stuff, all those presentations happen right here. So then hook setting, this one's also, I think, undeniable. You would much rather set your hook with your arms in. You have more range, more power, more snap to that rod. If you're in here, you're fishing along, whatever you're doing, you're stripping, you're here, boom. You can set the hook as far as you want, as snappy, as short as you want. Great. If you're out here and the fish eats, this is what you're gonna do. So, and it's not as good because it's gonna set you up for a bad fight, right? If it's a good fish, it really matters. If it's a 10-inch fish, it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter that much. When you're gonna catch fish, you're gonna think everything's going right, and then you're gonna get a hold of a big one, and you're gonna go, oh boy. And you've all seen this. I've done this, we've all done this. I'm in a bad spot with a big fish, especially if he starts running at me or running downstream at all. Where am I gonna go? But we see this all the time, guys doing this. Then they're gonna back up, and I'm in a rocky spot, and I'm gonna fall on my ass, right? Not a good spot to fight a fish like this. Regardless, no matter what happens during the fight, I'm gonna strip back in and be down, get to this spot. So I really like Kelly Gallup, and I was listening to his podcast the other day, and they were talking about fighting a fish. Gallup says he has boxing experience. He was a boxer for a while. I did Taekwondo for 8 years, like from 5th grade to being a high school senior. And same kind of thing. Nobody was teaching us to punch out like this. This isn't how you fight, right? Your arms aren't out. This isn't your fighting stance. And like Gallup was saying, this is the fighting stance. We're in here. And then, you got your punches, you're going here, you're defending. If the fish comes at me, I'm ready to defend. If I want to really put it to the fish, I'm in here. I got more power with this kind of leverage, locking that butt of the rod right here against my forearm. This is my leverage. This is my comfort area again, and I just got more power because of that leverage. I can turn them here. I'm gonna fight from here. Just like Gallup said, this is a great position to do it from. This is not. I think that's a really good analogy. All right, there it is. There is one body posture, arm position that really is best for everything we do in fly fishing, whether that's casting, drifting, swinging, stripping, setting the hook, and fighting the fish. All right here. Don't hang your arms out there, right? And every so often, absolutely, we're gonna deviate from that position. I'm gonna cast, then I'm gonna reach out a little bit, and then I'm back to this position. Remember, catching fish should not be the metric for success. I mean, yeah, you caught a fish. That doesn't mean you're doing everything right. You might catch 2 fish if you do things a little bit better. If you're kind of skeptical about this because you've seen so many people fishing like this, and you've seen so many people casting like this, again, that's fine for distance, then, I don't know, clear your mind. Try to think of a good reason. Why do I have my arm out there? Why am I doing that? Is this better? You know, open your mind, give it a shot. And I think you're gonna find that this is way more natural with more range and more options. I think that'll really help you out. So fish hard. Josh and I are gonna go fish hard somewhere. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
He's ready. Here we go. Should be right there. Ah! Right where he's supposed to be. Big brook trout. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. No! You slooped them. Ah, woo! You slooped them.
How did it vibrate?
In the process of slooping them?
Yep. Snaps the knot.
That's a good fish.
Yeah. Well.